For this episode, I'm actually in south central Missouri in the Ozark Mountains, and my co-pilot Ryan and I came up here to do a little bit of fishing at first, but last night some thunderstorms moved through. It rained a lot, the rivers and creeks are up, and the fishing is off for today. So instead of sitting in the cabin all day, we decided we'd get out and try to do a little bit of exploring and maybe do some wildlife photography. And as we're driving along this road in the mountains, we noticed that these little potholes that filled with water overnight were just full of tadpoles. And so tadpoles have to come from somewhere, and so we finally found where that somewhere was, and we found a couple of toads that were in the water, and they were laying eggs when we found them. They're laying eggs as we speak right now. The amazing thing about wildlife photography to me is it doesn't necessarily have to be all about big charismatic species like deer or elk or bear. You know, even the smallest species, there's a lot of fascination in them. We just stopped off the side of the road. Again, a little easy setup, easy thing to take a picture of, which makes a fascinating shot. Again, the male is piggybacking on the female, the bigger female below, but they've got, I guess all these are their progeny. They've got tadpoles all throughout these wet potholes. And I'll have to do a little research. I'm not sure of what the lifespan is or what even the species of toad this is, but I'm guessing these tadpoles will hatch and mature pretty quickly and be able to live out life before these potholes even dry up. So we're going to get out, shoot a few more pictures of these things, and see what else we can find on this Southern Ozark adventure. I never really considered myself much of a macro photographer, but here's my basic setup. It's a Canon 5D Mark II camera. I've got an older version 70-200 f2.8 zoom on that. It's an old lens, but it still works great, so I use it on every occasion I can. And then in between the lens and the body is a 12mm extension tube. And if you've never used an extension tube before, these things are really handy. What they'll do is when you put them on the camera, between the camera and the lens, they'll let your lens focus a whole lot closer than they would normally. So in effect, it makes this 70-200mm lens a macro lens. And so to top it off, I've got an offshoot cord here, and then I hook this flash to it. It's just a Canon Speedlight 580 EX2 flash, nothing fancy. And I use the internal TTL metering and just set my camera on aperture priority, set the f-stop at probably 5.6 because I like that really shallow depth of field, and then use that flash and let the camera decide what the shutter speed ought to be, and then I fire away, and that's how I do it. It's nothing that complicated. I don't know how well you can hear me. I've got to talk loud, but in the background you can hear all these frogs. Again, it rained earlier today, and it's got these mud puddles here in this creek bottom, and around this one little water hole where we just shot a few pictures, there's probably a dozen frogs in there trying to call one another and mate and fight and just jockey for territory. And it's pretty incredible. I mean, it's a really neat thing to see if you've never seen this before. So we're going to spend a few more minutes taking pictures of these things, and we're going to turn in for the night and hopefully get up in the morning and find some more cool things to take pictures of here in the Missouri Ozarks.